If I had known there was only 3 episodes in this season, I probably would have just binge watched it and made one full video. Come on, Chris. You're a professional now. Dracula Season 1. So I finally finished Dracula Season 1. I did a Episode 1 review that you can find right here. And I must say that it takes a turn for the worse. When I watched the first episode, I saw so much promise. And then Episode 2 comes along and wets the bed. Now, even though this is a long episode, I would say half of it is spent trying to figure out how we got to where we're at. They start Episode 2 in the most random place. Dracula is now being interviewed, similar to how Jonathan's character was in Episode 1. It just throws us there. It doesn't really explain how we got there, what happened at the end of Episode 1, who won, who lost, who may have died. It just starts. It even got to the point where I had to double check and make sure I was on the right episode because I thought I may have missed something. On top of that interview, he's now hitched a boat ride to England. It was at this point that the show has more of a murder mystery type vibe. He starts to kill a few of the people on board and they start to try to figure out who's the one that's doing it. Where Episode 1 leaves us with Dracula being a confident, in control type character. I like the contrast that they show in this episode. He succumbs to his urges for blood. He doesn't really have a lot of self-control. And it was at this point that the show starts to pick back up for me and becomes a little more interesting. And we finally get to Episode 3. You know, with it being the season finale, I felt like, you would incrementally get better and better and get ready for us to be wowed. And I feel like Episode 3 went in the opposite direction. Dracula wakes up from hibernation, he gets to England, and he's met by a task force that's led by the nun's great-great-granddaughter. On the plus side, the technology that they're using I felt was pretty dope. They have him in this little cage that can really control the daylight and it kind of moves him around and he's more of a prisoner. But for every positive for this show, it felt like there were 4 negatives just there to punch it in the dick. He's able to Skype his lawyer and get him out of jail and now he's a free vampire on the loose. I try to keep an open mind, but the further they take this show at this point, the worse it gets. For some reason, they felt the need to add this random guy. He's a stalker of this girl who's supposed to be marrying this guy, but somehow meets Dracula, and he ends up using her like a Capri Sun for a long period of time. I don't know why the episodes were so long and the season was so short. It felt like by Episode 3, everything started falling apart. They have these ugly hues of purple. It just doesn't match. And the ending ended up being a head scratcher. Really goes to show you, you can't really judge a pilot. So in the end, I don't see a Season 2 coming for Dracula, and I'd say this show won't be getting a second watch. Have you finished the new season of Dracula? I'm hoping you have. Let me know what you think in the comments below. As always, don't forget to subscribe, hit the notification bell, and attack the comment section. Peace.